Well, holding on to the White House isn't the only concern for Democrats this November. Of the 12 governor's seats up for grabs, Democrats are defending 8 of them. Nationwide, the balance of power is decidedly in the GOP's favor, 31-18. And there is a possibility of another GOP pickup in Bernie Sanders' home state of Vermont. That's where there's a tough contest to replace retiring Democrat Peter Shumlin.
New jobs, new equipment.
Sue, you're going on a rant right now.
Great.
That has nothing to do with the topic.
You see, it's pretty tense. The economy, health care, gun rights, and abortion are just some of the very hot topics at a gubernatorial debate this week. It was moderated by Mark Johnson, senior editor with VT Digger, a nonprofit journalism trust, and he joins us now from South Burlington. Thank you so much for joining us, Mark.
You bet.
I want to take a broad look. I want to take a step back. What can you tell me about this particular governor's race and why we could possibly see, for the first time in decades, a red governor?
Well, here in Vermont, the Republican that's running is a popular lieutenant governor. He's served 3 terms now. In addition to that, he is a native of Vermont, a longtime stock car driver, the winningest driver at Thunder Road, which is a popular racetrack here. So he's got that real common man appeal that that may be successful. He's the only Republican statewide office holder of the major offices here in Vermont. Okay,
I want to get down to some of the issues, because some of the issues that Vermont voters are looking at are issues that people across the nation are looking at. And I know in your particular city, you just accepted 100 refugees from Syria and Iraq. And proportionate, that's a lot of people that are entering your city. What was the candidates' response to an issue such as that? Did they agree or disagree?
Well, they did split on that. The Democrat Sue Minter, who's a former transportation secretary, won a 3-way primary, very much in support of the program, noting that she, in fact, herself has had refugees living in her own home. The Republican Phil Scott was a little bit more lukewarm on it, concerned about some of the security issues, expressing support for it while also raising questions at the same time. Some people felt that he was trying to have it have it both ways.
Right.
Another couple of big issues. We've got, like many states, huge problems with our health care exchange.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that too. Vermont spent $200 million to set up that website, and if I'm not mistaken, now they're looking at joining the federal exchange, which would be an additional $20 million. That's a ton of money. And what are voters looking for in these 2 candidates?
Well, on that issue, you've got the Republican who wants to join the federal exchange or maybe join another state, and the Democrat really wants to fix the current one.
What do voters want?
You know, it's a case. Well, that's a good question, because, you know, a lot of people feel it's throwing good money after bad. On the other hand, all this money's been invested, and people don't want to see that go to waste either. So that's a tough one.
Okay.
Another one is we've got this huge opiate addiction problem, which, you know, many rural states have too.
Yeah, we heard them address that in the debate as well, and everyone has a little bit a different idea of how they could find a solution. I do want to bring in a little bit of a wild card, forgive my baseball pun, but he prides himself on his baseball career, is Bill Lee. He's a member of the Liberty Union Party. We can put a picture, a full screen of him up on your screen. He's been a very eccentric character, one perhaps who wouldn't necessarily have a lot of influence in a normal election cycle. But if you look at Vermont in particular, look at Bernie Sanders' influence in the presidential race. What type of impact is he having on this race?
I wouldn't really make a comparison between Bernie Sanders and Bill Lee. Bill Lee is not really taking this race seriously. He's made a couple of token appearances at debates. This is really, I think, more about him publicizing some of his own works. He's really not issued any statements on issues. His real role in this race has been the Republican has refused to have debates unless Bill Lee is invited. So that's become an issue in and of itself.
Okay, very interesting. Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, if we see Phil there win this race, we hope to have you back to break it down further. But thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You bet.